Chris Costa here from New Center, Maine, speaking with Governor Janet Mills. Governor, thanks so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you for having me, Chris.
What an exciting announcement. All right, we know how big the Hearts of Pine have been for the state of Maine so far in terms of generating a lot of excitement, obviously some good sales tax, some revenue for the state. So when you were able to make this come to be, this exhibition game, this friendly, right, between the Nova Scotia team of the Wanderers and the Hearts of Pine, how did you feel about making that come to fruition?
Oh, well, first of all, I'm so proud of that team, and I've been a fan of theirs since they first started talking about it. And when the Lewiston kids won the state tournament in 2023, that was so moving too, being during overtime. But soccer has become big in Maine for a lot of reasons. And the Hearts of Pine, the product of such hard work by people like Tom Karen, TC, Gabe Hoffman Johnson, and so many others. So a couple of weeks ago, I was at a game and I saw Gabe and I said, well, Gabe, I'm going to Canada next week. He said, well, if you're going to Nova Scotia, they have a really good team. I'd love to challenge them to a friendly. I said, okay, whatever that is, I'll do that. So he gave me a couple of jerseys to give to people in Nova Scotia. When I got to Nova Scotia, I had a great meeting with Tim Houston, the Premier of Nova Scotia, good guy, good friend. And I said at the end, after we talked about the economy, tourism, everything else, I said, I have a gift for you. And I held up, as you've seen in the photo, a jersey for the Hearts of Pine. I said, I would like to challenge your team, the Halifax Wanderers, to a friendly game in Portland at the date of your choosing. He said, all right. And he called the manager at that time, that afternoon, and he texted me later on and said, we're on. So I texted Gabe and I said, this is exciting. We're going to have this team from Canada come down from Nova Scotia. And I don't know what their ratings are, their rankings are, but I know that Hearts of Pine have heart and soul, and we can take them on. And also, you mentioned soccer being a money maker for the city of Portland and for the state of Maine. There's the largest attendance ever. The leading attendance of this season is Hearts of Pine, the league leading attendance. That's wonderful. But also, we have a major league sports complex in Maine. We have basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer. We have it all. It's all coming together. So I'm really proud, not only of Portland, but of the state of Maine for hosting these sports, these excellent athletes. And like Gabe was saying recently, this is not about making money. This is about uniting communities and bringing people together. And if your viewers have not yet been to a game, I urge you to get a ticket. They're usually sold out games, but you can get in. I mean, Patrick Dempsey goes to these games, Tom Karen, some pretty famous people, interesting folks.
Janet Mills.
I'm not just talking to the women out there. There's some good-looking guys, good-looking women, but people of all ages, and you have special events for the kids before the game, and food for all, food and drink for everybody. So I'm so excited about this team and all they're doing to bring sports and bring people to the state, bring people out to see these wonderful games. I've been there in the pouring rain, and it's still people don't leave the stands. They want to see the game, the whole game. They want to see Ollie Wright and Titus Washington and Hunter Morris rather, and these brilliant players. Great goaltender there in Morris, the brick wall. These are exciting times. It's an exciting team. And so proud to do what I can to boost their visibility. They do you well. They do us all well, and they play robustly. They play tough games, and they've got a lot of heart.
Governor, obviously this came out of that meeting with the
Yes.
Premiers of the different provinces. What do you hope that, of all of the things that you discussed about trade and the economy, why a soccer game, and what do you hope that a soccer game will do for strengthening the Maine-Canada relationship?
Well, look, the reason I went to Canada in the first place, to New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, was to engage with them and say, hey, look, we're your friends. I'm hearing that you're not coming to Maine. I want to address that issue, whether it's because of some hostile language coming from the president, whether it's because of alleged tariffs or proposed tariffs, whether it's because of things that they believe are happening at the border. I want to get over that hesitation and make sure people come back and visit Maine, because our roots go very, very deep. I talked to the Premier of Nova Scotia about my roots, the Mills family, going back to Pugwash, Nova Scotia. He knows Pugwash very well. It's a very small town. And we talked about how Canadian and Maine families are so intertwined, and our economies are intertwined. Whatever's happening in Washington or on the Mexican border, don't be discouraged about coming to Maine. And that's why I also made those signs to put up at all 13 border crossings, traffic border crossings, that say Bienvenue Canadien, welcome to Maine. And we've been putting them up in store window fronts all up and down the coast and anywhere close to the border.
What is it about that? I mean, obviously this was sort of a mission for you, right? To have to
Sure.
address some of the language that was, or the rhetoric that was coming out federally, as well as the tax implications with the tariffs. Was there a point when you realized we need to be on the on the offense as a state to go to Canada and say we want to maintain this relationship irrespective of what's happening in Washington? It sounds like this was a proactive plan on your part.
Sure, it's kind of retail politicking in a way, retail international diplomacy of a sort. It's whatever I can do to make sure that our state remains the destination state that it always has been, and the place where people come from Quebec to go to the beach, Old Orchard Beach. People come from New Brunswick to go all up and down the coast and elsewhere. We have companion cities between Edmundston and Madawaska, Holton, Calais and St. Stephen. And these are families and economies that are so intertwined and so deep. You've got people in Lewiston whose ancestors came here 100 years ago from Sherbrooke, and they go back to Sherbrooke, or they go to Quebec City and visit relatives constantly. We can't break those ties. They're important to us culturally. They're important to us economically. Maine is covered by Canada, 611 miles of border with Quebec province and New Brunswick province. And then Nova Scotia is not that far off. And you have the CAP bringing people twice a day to Bar Harbor and a very popular mode of transit. So I want people to remember that they shouldn't feel afraid crossing the border into Maine or crossing back into Canada. We still have friendly relations. We still have good cross-border relations, and they should feel comfortable coming here.
How did those conversations sort of resolve as you were getting ready to leave the provinces? What was your interpretation of how they responded to your sort of like handing of an olive branch, so to speak?
Yeah, well, hopefully they felt reassured, because that was my intent, and every word I uttered was to that effect. And because of some of the publicity we got by being there, I got a call from the ambassador, Mr. Hoekstra, who said, "Hey, what's going on there?" I said, "Well, you should come here too," basically. And I said, "Please help me reassure the good people of Canada that along that nearly 4,000-mile-long border, that peaceful border, that there will be no disruptive events at the border. People will not be harassed or detained or their cell phones seized and things of that sort." And he said, "I haven't heard a thing about that happening along the Canadian border. Maybe there's been some things at the southern border, but law-abiding citizens should not have a fear of being detained or harassed at the Canadian border."
But as you said, right, not an issue to anything you've heard so far from
No,
the Canadian
correct.
government. Okay.
But there's that fear out there. There are some news articles. I saw one posting by somebody in the Canadian government that said, "Don't go to the United States," and it showed a picture of a car burning in Los Angeles. And I said, "Well, Los Angeles, that's a far cry from the Canadian border. That's not something, whatever happened in Los Angeles shouldn't dissuade people from coming to Maine, coming to the United States and crossing the Canadian border."
I wanted to ask you if you'd had any update from Ambassador Hoekstra since you spoke with him in terms of.
No, I have not spoken to him since that time a couple of weeks ago. but he told me to feel free to reach out to him if I heard of any incidents, if I had any concerns about the border. And I take him at his word that he would take whatever action was necessary to assuage those concerns that I heard in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia.
So here we are, a little bit past the midway point of summer. I had asked the Maine Office of Tourism, hey, do you have the figures yet on how many Canadian visitors
Right.
we've had and so on and so forth? They're still compiling that data. Have you heard even anecdotally, I know that it's been a slow start. We've heard from a lot of the local business owners who say, yes, we are seeing fewer Canadian visitors than years past.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, one, your reaction to that, and two, what you might tell those business owners about years to come.
Well, I think what they're doing is pivoting and messaging, marketing to people from other states or even other countries other than Canada. When they're getting cancellations from longtime Canadian clients and customers, then they're pivoting and saying, well, maybe we should market to New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, et cetera. I think that's what they're doing. I don't have data on that,
Yeah, me neither.
but that's my guess in talking to people on the main streets of towns up and down the state of Maine. I was at the Potato Blossom Festival this past weekend in Fort Fairfield. Usually there's a ton of Canadians usually that come across the border to go there. And I couldn't feel that. I didn't feel that there were as many this year as there have been in years past, although it's a very popular parade. And as you know, there's a golf course in Fort Fairfield that crosses the border. You got I forget what hole it is. My husband used to play there, but now there's Border Patrol somewhere near there, but it's common that people play golf in both countries on one course in that area.
Little symbolism there, huh?
I think, and we're going to try to do the same with soccer. Create some international competition, which is a healthy competition, and hopefully help bring us together again with the province of Nova Scotia, at least.
We know of the ability of things like sport to be able to bring people together, especially during tough times. I mean, you can think of just about any difficult situation in American history where they've taken a moment to kind of come together as an entire audience, an entire stadium, an entire arena. I think of the Patriots in the Super Bowl in 2000, well, I guess it was 2002 after 9/11, right? Where it didn't really matter what jerseys the people were wearing. We were all united under this same concept of we love our country. Is there?
Or the Red Sox.
I don't want to overstate it for a soccer
Boston
game like
Marathon
this.
bombing.
Right, exactly. And I
David
don't
Ortiz.
want to overstate it. Well, I don't want to overstate it for what's intended to be a friendly soccer game. But is there a concept there of, we're going to put aside some of our political differences to come together over something that we know all as humans we appreciate and enjoy?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Sports represent an international language, an international coming together that doesn't know any real boundaries. Look at the hockey teams.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a great hockey team at UMaine, and great basketball too. But look at the Canadian players who come across and go to school here to play hockey with our team. That's incredible. That's really special. And so many of them go on to play professional hockey. We should be proud of that. Look at what happened after October 23rd, a year and a half ago. And we had a soccer playoff between the Lewiston team and the Deering team, which is one of the most exciting games you could ever see. And Lewiston winning in the final analysis in overtime, pretty special. And you had Patrick Dempsey coming to Lewiston to play softball with some folks from Lewiston, and just to create the atmosphere of, okay, we can feel good again about ourselves. We can play sports, we can be competitive and loving at the same time. And we can be good, healthy human beings and a good, healthy community. And that's what Hearts of Pine have done as well for their community, for the community of Maine in general.
Is there anything else that you feel that the public should know about the economic and trade relationships between at least Maine and Canada? Because I know that you've done these types of, as you kind of mentioned, it was like, did you say it was called, was it retail geopoliticking? You've gone to Iceland before. You've done these types of trips where you talk about the economy. Yeah, right, exactly, diplomacy.
Yeah,
so you've done these trips several times before. How did this one feel by comparison?
Well, I had to encounter a lot of hesitation. In New Brunswick, we had a meeting with about 70 business people. Most of them were very good, very kind, and they're all kind, and welcomed my input on why they should not feel concerned about crossing the border and spending money in Maine. And the premier of New Brunswick said she wasn't going to encourage it. She wanted to encourage people to stay in New Brunswick. And the ambassador questioned me about that. I said, look, she's the premier of New Brunswick. Of course, she's going to tell people to stay in New Brunswick and spend money there. I'm the governor of Maine. Of course, I'm going to tell people to come to Maine and spend their money here. That's our jobs. But I met a lot of good people, and I toured some factories and some research facilities. And I met with Irving Oil and Irving Lumber Ltd. and a lot of businesses that do a lot of cross-border development and cross-border trade. And they want to maintain that relationship with us. So that's good news. And I just wanted to reinforce that. Whatever happens in Washington, whatever rhetoric comes out of Washington, I want our Canadian friends to know that I value their friendship and I value their neighborliness. And I hope they'll always consider us a friend, an ally, and a good neighbor.
Governor, you've been more than generous with your time, more time than I expected to take. Is there anything about the game, other than the details of it, which I'll cover, but anything that you
Yeah.
wanted to let people know that I didn't
No,
touch on?
I'm really proud that Hearts of Pine are doing so well in their
Yeah.
first year out. I mean, they're in a playoff potential place there, and I love the players. Their enthusiasm is just unbridled, and the enthusiasm of the fans has been written about recently. It's more than the zoo crew. It's just amazing. My granddaughters, I think, are going to a game this week. My little granddaughters, and they've never been to a soccer game before. I go, you're gonna love it. You're just gonna love it. Because it's for the whole family. It's for the whole family. And it brings, it enlivens the spirit. It enlivens the spirit of the whole state. Love to see it.
I've been to one of those games and I know what you mean. And it's almost
Only
one of those,
one?
like, you have to see it to feel it and experience it type things.
Well, you saw what happened in the first game. I'm down by the field, and a player from the other team comes sliding into the fence right in front of me. And I go, oh, great, he's gonna slide right into me. And then he goes, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so, and I turn to the crowd, and, hey, play of the game, right? They were good sports. They're
They are.
all, they all exhibit good sportsmanship, and that's critical as well. I've never heard an obvious act of bad sportsmanship at those games. Hope I never do.
No,
So-
I don't think it. I can't imagine you would. It's been a good experience for me and every
Yeah.
time my friends and family have gone. Anything that you think that the people of Maine should know, lastly, about how this strengthens the relationship between Canada and Maine, or you think we've covered it?
Yeah, no, I'm delighted. I'm very excited that the Premier of Nova Scotia, Tim Houston, accepted my challenge. And the challenge, and he probably won't wear the jersey unless we win. He better wear it then. The jersey I gave him from the Hearts of Pine. And I mean, he was real quick in responding. We'll do that. We'll get it done. And now we know we are getting it done, and I'm looking forward to the game.
August 6th, that friendly match with the Halifax Wanderers. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for your time, Governor. I really, really appreciate you taking a couple minutes out of your very busy day to talk about this.
My pleasure.